Welcome to the Work It podcast, where EQ meets IQ, training workplace success. Visit workitcareers.com for more information on how you can discover and awaken your true career path. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lori, your host, and today marks our 8th podcast. And we have no guest today. It's going to be me talking to you. And we are going to be talking today about a subject that probably impact a lot of people's lives because many of us listening are mothers. So today's topic is mom guilt. And what I'm going to do or attempt to do is kind of break it down by the types of moms that there are out there because there's so many, and break it down by personalities. And many of you will recognize who you are out there. And I'll try to give out some scenarios of how people react to people in the workplace or people at home, and how you deal with the stresses of being a mom and having a career. So here we go. The first mom that I want to pick on today is what I call the director mom. And these are all there's going to be 4 types of moms tonight. There's many more types, but I want to just talk about 4 because they're extremes. They're the moms that have scored the highest from a score in the categories of, in this case, director. So I'm going to kind of talk about that ego and what happens when you're raising a family with that ego. So the first one is the director mom, and the director mom tends to almost be that helicopter mom that we hear about. They tend to tell their children or tell the people that are working for them versus collaborate or compromise because they just want to get things done their way. They even go and cross the line on directing the kids' friends, which could be great, but then if that friend's mom is also a director, that could be a little hairy. They also tend to direct who their children should be friends with. That's a big one because if their child is a different personality than the director mom, and they really like that friend that they just found, and then they're told to not associate with them, that could cause some friction in the household. And then also their words, a director's mom's words are very blunt. Mom is the boss, and it's reinforced and said many times. So when we talk about mom guilt, the guilt side of this, as the child is older and shows signs of either rebelling or kind of going silent because they don't have a voice. From the helicopter side, the guilt is maybe I should have let him or her do something themselves. And I see it in my classes with the teenagers that many students are not able to do a lot of things on their own, things that I would have expected that they could do on their own. So, just I want to put that out there that it's okay to let 11, 12, 13-year-old child start to talk for themselves. Because once they get to 18 and they're still looking to mom to answer for them, it's not going to be that easy for them in the workplace. Another thing is, letting them have a say. So again, that's for the moms out there, catching their ego. And then, making sure that you're not going to offend their friends' parents because you're being direct with the friend. And then, all this is being said just to try to avoid confrontation in the household. So being able to recognize if you're the director mom, that is your way or no way, later on as that child ages, it could end up having a situation where you have to kind of rewind and where did things go wrong and how do I fix them? So I'm just kind of putting that out there so that you can have food for thought and what I'm seeing with the students that I coach, getting them ready for the so-called real world. So director mom, I actually am one of them as well, but I'm combined with the next one, which is the people pleaser mom. So I kind of have a combination of egos there, but they're both very strong. So the people pleaser mom has traits of, the kids need to be active and involved in all the things that they want to be involved in. How many of us parents out there are competing with the neighbors and wanting to make sure your child is involved in all the sports, all the dances, and everything else that possibly could be out there? The other thing that people-pleasing moms tend to do is try to give their kids everything that they want so that you're not hurting them. The other thing that people-pleasing moms tend to do is the kids can have as many friends over at any time. So how many of you people-pleasing moms are just open door, 15 friends come over, and next thing you know, you're feeding the neighborhood, and you're feeding the neighborhood often. So that can lead to other parents taking advantage of the people pleasing moms out there. So just, catch that ego. And, you know, one of the things by having all the friends over at any time is now your structure in your home is there's really no structure. The time management's out the window. Giving kids everything that they want as a reward system, whatever, it kind of leaves you not enough money to do what you want or what you need. And a lot of parents have a belief system that they need to give up everything for their families. And that's strictly a belief system, because if you're not getting things that you need or want, then you're not going to be happy. And an unhappy mom is not a good person to be around. So I would just, caution you and catch your ego in that area. And the last thing I want to say about the people pleasing moms is that these moms tend not to have enough hours in the day to do all the things that they need to do because they're too busy pleasing others, whether it's their bosses, their co-workers, or their children. It doesn't matter. They're just people pleasing. So, make sure that, you know, hear me out on these things, because there's a lot of parents out there that are not having open door policies to have the friends over, but then there are a lot of moms that actually do, and they end up spending a lot more money on other people's kids than maybe the budget allows for. So, I hear you. I hear you, moms out there. The next mom that I wanted to talk about is the planning mom. This is the mom that really has the checklist going at all times to make sure that no one is skipping a beat. Everyone's there on time. They manage the plan strictly. And when something goes wrong with the plan, they really take it personally. And that can be very stressful for the planning mom out there. They're the ones wanting to plan the best birthday party for their child or family members, and making sure that the calendar is kept all up to date. And the guilt that they may feel is that they're too tired to be attentive to current activity because they're too busy making sure there's a timestamp ready for the next step in the day. So, being too tired is not being a happy mom. So, catch the ego on too much planning and let the day unfold the way it needs to without, getting upset about it. The other thing with raising children is those checklists that you live by may be intimidating to different personality children. So some children love checklists and need checklists to actually get through life. But then there's others that like to kind of fly with whatever happens. So recognizing who your children are is important so that you can adjust and give them a little bit of what they need to be making them happy. And then, like I mentioned before, is the stress that comes with too many interruptions. I get it, but it's important for you to know that if the plan doesn't go exactly as planned, it's still okay. And your child is going to be okay, and he's going to live with the consequences, and you don't need to be feeling guilty about that. So there's to the planning moms. I'm not a planning mom, so I definitely don't feel any guilt on that. The last mom that I want to pick on today, and again, is this extreme ego of detailed mom. And the traits of a detailed mom are, they get up every day saying the devil is in the details. In their household, the FBI will not be necessary. A detailed mom is always right because they've researched the answers. And, from a kid's perspective, that mom might take a little too long to make a decision because they need to research. So it might be annoying to a child to have to wait for a yes or a no. The guilt that comes with being too detailed as a mom is you're going to have a child that might feel that their mom is on a witch hunt to find something that is wrong. So that child can, depending on how sensitive they are to that, can start to take it personally. So just be cautious on that. That child that might be a rebel, of course, the FBI is not necessary at your house. And I think the rebel child will realize that very quickly. I think I've come across a few FBI type moms out there. I heard a story recently from one of my 11-year-old students who was called to the principal's office. And the principal called the mom, and immediately the mom was conducting her own investigation without hearing why her daughter was in the principal's office. So the first thing said as soon as the principal announced who they were and the reason for the call, being the daughter was in the principal's office, was, "Is there anybody else's child in the office with my child?" So you can tell right from that initial statement that it's going to be an interesting conversation between the principal and this child's mother, because automatically she's assuming that the principal is guilty. So, just catching the ego as moms is very important, because your child probably, and not all the time, but most likely, there was an incident that caused your child to violate something and is sitting in the principal's office for a reason. So hear them out. And then, the stubbornness that comes with being a detailed mom, you were born with that. I get it. It's just making sure that you catch it as it's happening so that you can kind of tone it down, because otherwise you may not seem flexible at all, because your answer is always the right answer. And then the last thing that I can say about a detailed mom who might be taking too long to make a decision for their child, who might be more urgent than the mom, is, oh my God, make a decision. Live with the decision that you make, but don't keep your child waiting as the other children are moving forward more quickly. So definitely try to work with them to help them provide you a little bit more detail initially so that you can research it, so they're not having you make a spontaneous decision, but make a decision for them so that they can move forward and allow them to speak for themselves, even though the answer may not be as detailed as you would like it to be. So a lot of detailed moms who are also directors tend to take over that child's communication, whether it's written or verbal, and also all the decisions of that person's life. So it's important for you to allow them to do their own research, allow them to better understand themselves rather than be told who they are. And again, that's the ego of a director mom / detailed mom. Those are two, high scoring moms. For me, I'm a director mom, but I'm a people pleasing mom. So I don't tend to get into the detail too much. I let the child dig for their own detail. But the combination of the two really, makes you who you are. But if you can realize your ego and where it exists and catch yourself, your relationship with your child is going to go a lot smoother. There's too many high school kids out there that have shut down. Middle school students, as well. They've shut down for a particular reason, and it could be any of the reasons that I went through just now. And then it gets clouded over the years, and then gets uncovered later on in life as to the reason why they shut down their communication with family. So I hope that all you moms out there are being able to relate to one of the four combinations that I gave out. We moms all have friends that are falling into these categories, and for me, the FBI mom, I would definitely call an FBI mom out if I was in need of an investigation to be done. Certainly, the people pleasing mom, which I am, somebody out there who's not open to having the neighborhood over, might call on me to open my doors, but there would be some sort of sharing of expense so that you're not, burdening one mom's strength to where they can't enjoy, things for themselves. The helicopter moms, please, 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 I ask you, 1,000 students have seen me in the last 4 years, and so many of them are just so reluctant to make a decision on their own at age 17, 18, because the decisions were made for them all growing up. So I ask that all the parents really start to let your children have a voice, start to ask the public for things that they need, with you standing by. you know Understanding a budget is wonderful even at the age of 11 or 12, so they don't think that money grows on trees. It's all the things that I'm seeing that can help all of you out now versus waiting until it's time to make a career decision for themselves and they don't know where to start. So I hope all of this was somewhat helpful. And again, these are just a portion of the combinations. I'm using the high score, and I'm not giving reference to the testing that I use, but I use a testing called Insight Inventory. And Insight Inventory is a testing that kind of allows me to translate to students, as well as today moms, of where their ego lives. And I use the high score for each of the areas of director, people pleaser, planner, and details, to be able to kind of highlight how those moms behave in a family environment. And all types of moms are necessary out there. It's just, we need to utilize each other's strengths so that we can help raise the children, because there's a lot of truth to the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It truly does, when your child is not of the same personality, as maybe an exact opposite, and really can get drained by your personality. So you need to make sure that you're using friends, parents who have a different personality from you to be able to convey your message. It's so important. Don't give up with your message. Make sure that you're using someone who is more relatable to your child's personality to be able to convey the same message that you wanted to convey, and without getting your ego all ruffled. That's important. And I hope that this discussion about ego hits home with a lot of people. It's not anything bad. It's just who you are, and just catching it so that it's not so extreme to where there's no flexibility in communication with your child. So as far as the mom guilt goes, there shouldn't be any guilt. You, as a director mom, you may be very career focused, and having a plan B, C, and D is important to help raise your family. Being a detailed mom and a directed mom, those are the moms that tend to be overtasked. They're just, because they want to control everything and do everything. So they're very, very tired. And you'll probably see them in the workplace. So it's just that they're not asking for any delegation because they don't trust anybody else to do what they can do. They're the ones that are complaining probably in the workplace that they don't have any help. And what they really mean is they don't trust too many people to help them. So it's really just building trust. And I hope that the people pleasing moms out there, understand that it's important to recognize when other moms might be taking advantage of your open door policy, and just having a conversation with those parents so that they can share some of the expense and entertainment. So again, I hope all of this was helpful, and I look forward to picking another topic, maybe on dads next time, I'm not sure. But I enjoyed talking about this one because it's something that I see in my lifetime, as well as in the kids that are coming to see me now trying to pick a career path. It's just there's definitely opportunity for all of us moms to kind of let go a little bit and let children start to problem solve on their own and make some decisions on their own, obviously with you on the sidelines, but making sure that you're not making every decision for them to where they don't know how to do that in the future. So again, I thank you for listening in this week, and I will talk with you on the next podcast. Thank you.